This is on change.org, and surprisingly, it's gathered something like 90,000 signatures. Now, bearing in mind that in Scotland it was something like 3.6 million people voting, so those figures are significant within a Scottish context. We, the undersigned, demand a revote of the Scottish referendum, counted by impartial international parties. Now, it's an extraordinary amount of figures. Now, I saw these sort of comments last week, and it was indeed Russian observers were initially. Right. And we're still seeing this on Russia Today. Thousands demand vote, and they seem to be quite gleeful about that. Meanwhile, the vote count was properly conducted, says the counting officer. So it looks like that will probably fade away, the actual demand for a recount. But what it does point to is sort of a simmering discontent, not just in Scotland, but maybe across the UK. And indeed, the Guardian's John Harris, there's a 10-minute video, actually, which is very interesting to look at on the website, where he goes across not just Scotland, but visits Leeds and Manchester and meets people who are, as he says, engaged, fired up and disconnecting from the big three parties, not least of all Labour, whose party conference takes place this week. He goes to Yorkshire, for example, where he speaks to somebody who set up an independent Yorkshire party. So there seems to be a drive, a passionate new politics, as he describes it, that wants to take back power from Westminster. So it's quite interesting to see what the Scottish referendum may have sparked. And some people were saying that the Scottish referendum, it was more a social movement than anything else. Who knows? In any case, when you see articles like this in the Daily Telegraph, Chris, I think it is an indication that something is a-brewing. Why aren't the British middle classes staging a revolution? Now, this is anger over the Phone for You collapse.
What are they going to do, James? Throw scones at each other?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's going to get quite to Paris 1968 standards, but this particular article, Alex Proud is saying that perhaps people should be getting out in the streets, getting angry. Revolution.
One man who has re-emerged, he's not been so much out in the streets, is on television, yes. Nicolas Sarkozy. We never stop talking about him.
Well, that's right, we don't, and I suppose I'm partly responsible. But anyway, here he is, and a lot of people pointing out this sort of blockbuster style of his return. He gave a big interview. Let's take a look at some images from his main evening news appearance on France 2 network on Sunday. He has a very dramatic style. France does tend to like the providential man, as they tend to call the right-wing kind of omnipresent politician, or the saviour. And I think he was playing up to that image, even though he denied that he was playing up to that image. And I quite like this Jump Cut, which is a production company, their little edit of the dramatic style of his return. Let's take a look at how this video ends, Chris.
N'en doutez pas. « 36 mois, ça va être long. »
Pour vous?
There you go. Just like a movie, Chris. So 36 long month.
It was terrifying.
Month-long movie.
As is your next item, on which I'm not going to comment.
Right. Okay. Now this is, I don't know. Can you have satire about something that is quite so serious? But anyway, 5 ways ISIS can reduce its carbon footprint. Now this is somebody being very facetious about an organisation that really doesn't care much about the environment. I would think it's fair to say. 1, purchase carbon offsets. 2, reduce number of security checkpoints. 3, avoid setting oil wells on fire. Now, why that might be funny if you have a certain sense of humour is that clearly their level of ethics is already so low that caring about the environment is probably considerably down the list, Chris.
Let's move swiftly on to a new dating application.
That's right. Now, in the age of dating apps aplenty with Tinder, Grindr, all these sort of apps, you now have, Chris, a new one on the market called Cuddler. Now, this is the PG version, and it's been set up by a guy called Charlie Williams. And the idea is that it'll go towards a cuddle, but nothing more than that. It is possible to report someone who cuddles inappropriately, and a rating system is used to assess cuddles as awesome, good, okay, or inappropriate. So there you go. That's the latest member of the dating app market, Chris. But the thing is, I think the marketplace for free hugs is getting pretty crowded, as this well-known campaign might indicate. Free hugs, that is one of those things where people in public provide hugs to strangers. So there you go. Cuddler now vying with free hugs for just general affection to strangers, Chris.
It's all very cute, James, but will it catch on? Thank you very much. That was MediaWatch. Time now for Focus, and all this week our reporters Julien Muntzer and Shona Bhattacharya